Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. My name is Amy, and I'm the founder of Irresistible University. Through my podcast and courses, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. If you like the podcast, you're going to love the Irresistible You online self study course with a VIP private podcast. If you would like to learn more, head on over to irresistibleicing.com/course. That link is also in the show notes. Welcome back to the podcast. Let me first start with the obvious, and that is the sound quality. I kid you not, as soon as I went to record today, my very nice and very expensive podcast microphone, I went to remove the cable from it and the cable broke off, and now the entire microphone is broken and I'm going to have to buy another one, and I am just not happy about that. So I apologize for the quality if it's not the same as it typically is. That is why. So let's get into today's episode. What we're going to be talking about today is the quote unquote fat girl trauma of formal dress shopping. If you know, then you know. When you are overweight, if you are someone who was overweight and you lost all your weight, shopping for formal wear can feel so traumatic. It can bring up so many past memories. It can bring up so many triggers, and it can feel really stressful. That emotional reaction that you get when you have to go, into a dress shop, for example, pick out a dress or get measured for a dress can come with just so many different feelings. And I'm going to get into what we can do to kind of move forward from that. But before we do, I'm going to share with you a little bit about my experience with that. So I can remember the first kind of formal dress shopping experience. I think I was around 16. I was a bridesmaid, and I had to go to the shop to get measured for the dress, and I'm a 16-year-old kid, right? And the woman is like, "Oh, you're so voluptuous. You're so curvy. You're so," like, she just kept making all these really annoying comments. And nothing about that made me feel my age. It always made me feel older than I was. And it was like these women, because of course she was, a little chunky herself, but it was almost like they were trying to take a kinship in me because we, were both, in a double digit size, if you will. And that was really just bothersome and just really annoying. Like, just gives you the, like, a gross feeling. And you're already going in there self-conscious about your body because you're not, a size 2 or a size 6 or whatever. And then, probably a year later or so after that, year or two later, there I was shopping for my prom dress. And, you know, there's two things here. As a teenager, going to prom, not having a lot of options that I know are going to, number one, fit my body or look right on my body. That in and of itself is embarrassing, and it was humiliating, and it's dehumanizing. It feels like it's robbing your femininity. I talked about that in a prior episode as well. It just, there's so many, like, elements to that. And you have to remember, I'm dress shopping for prom back in 1999. So the options are not wide. We only have the stores. We don't have online. We don't have anything like that. We don't have, the variety of dresses that exist today for plus size. So, especially in the late 90s too, everything was spaghetti strap. Everything was, not going to work with the chest I'm working with, okay? So it was really hard to find something. And then, of course, the off the rack sizes are like for really skinny people, and they have to, like, it's just humiliating. And then you've got this little skinny young salesperson who's trying to help you and making comments, and you feel so judged. You feel so like ostracized, you feel so different. And especially back then, I think formal wear stores did not expect larger bodies. They did not cater to larger bodies. They did not care. They didn't care. And so this is setting the cement at a very young age to have these experiences, right? So then we're going to fast forward to wedding dress shopping. Now, I was on a big weight loss journey around the time of my engagement leading up to my wedding, and I was so nervous to go and start putting dresses on because I wasn't in the size that I wanted to be. I had all this prior trauma of like how I was treated in the try-ons, in the dressing room, in the formal wear stores, and I just knew, especially as a bride, like all the eyes are on you when you're trying to get this dress. And again, running into similar issues with sizing, or like they have the off the rack dress, but of course it won't zip up in the back, or like they have to pin it with these big ass, like they look like clothespins, but they're huge. Having to do that, and this is a time when things should feel happy, celebratory, special. You should feel supported. And for the most part, I had an okay experience with most of the wedding dress shopping. Now, there was one experience where I walked in during my lunch break. There was this little wedding shop down the street from my job. I'm like, let me just run in real quick. I didn't go with like my mom or my friends or anything, but I was like, let me just run in here real quick because I had seen one in the window that I thought was really beautiful and I wanted to try. So I went in there, and of course, the 360 mirror, that's a whole nother trauma. Can we just not with the 360 mirror? I hate it. So then I go in there, I tell her I want to try this on. I put it on, and when I put it on, she was like, "Oh wow." She says something like, "Oh wow, you've got like a nice figure. You have a shape under there." Like, bitch, what? Did you think I was some under the bridge sea hag troll when I walked in here, and now that I've got the corset on and pulling the strings in the back of the dress to get the thing all tight, now you're like, "Oh, you've got like a nice shape." It's like, just keep your fucking comments to yourself, right? And I feel like I went into a lot of those experiences, especially in the wedding one, already kind of like saying things before they have a chance to say things like, "Oh, I don't know if you're going to have my size," or, you know, um, "My hips are really wide," or like, "Oh, I'm on a weight loss," like just trying to like, I think what your brain tries to do is protect you because it knows what's happened already. And so your brain is like protecting you from what they might say, and they might not say anything. And if they do say something, then we need to be in a place where we're saying something back. But I know like young me, 16, 17 years old, I didn't have the words. I didn't know how to say that because I'm like, well, I mean, So I also am going to throw in there the incident that happened to me. I wasn't even formal wear shopping. And that's what I want to talk about, is how this isn't just formal wear where you have to be measured and you have to, maybe try on a gown that's hanging like one of the floor gowns or whatever. This also happens when you just go to the store and you're minding your own business. I remember, again, being very young. I was probably like 19 or 20. And it was after I had gained like almost 100 pounds. I've shared with you all, after high school, I gained so much weight. And I was just looking for a jacket. I was at Dillard's. I was looking for a coat. And the little tiny petite sales clerk came up to me. Right? She comes up to me and says, "Oh, your size is going to be over there." So, number one, you're making assumptions that I'm shopping for myself. You're making assumptions about my size, and you're putting your nose in my business when you don't need to be doing that. So this just can carry a lot of old wounds, and they can resurface. And I remember also another memory here is one day Frank and I randomly, this was before kids. I think we only had Chewy at the time. And he's like, let's go to Ocean City for the day. So we drove up to Ocean City for the day, like walked around the boardwalk, hung out, went out, had some drinks, went to the bar. Just, we had such a good time. But towards the end of the night, or like early evening, it was really cold. It was like the spring during the day where it's super hot, and I was feeling cold. And he's like, "Well, let's just go in one of these shops. You know how they have all the like the Ocean City hoodies, like any beach town. I live in a beach town. You've got all the shops up and down the boardwalk that sell all of these, little just cheap little hoodies you can put on." And I just remember refusing. I refused. I refused to go into any of those stores. And what's funny about that, is the clothing, because a lot of the clothing is up high in those stores, especially in the off season, for like the sweatshirts and stuff. And I just refused to go in there. So I allowed myself to be cold and miserable because of what someone may or may not say to me who actually has no right to say that to me. And I'm sharing all of this with you today because I know so many of you experience the same level of anxiety when you go into a store, the same level of anxiety when you are invited to an event, assuming in your mind that everything is going to look like shit, assuming in your mind that everything is going to not fit you, hearing that old comment in your head or comments in your head, replaying incidents in your head, and bracing. That's what it is, right? It's you're bracing for judgment. So you make jokes about yourself. You make jokes about the sizes. You say things without needing to say things because it's like bracing for impact, and the impact that you're bracing for is the judgment. And shopping should not feel like you're walking into a courtroom to plead your case. Shopping should not feel like you are being judged. Shopping should not feel scary. It should be fun and exciting. And so that's why I'm sharing all of this with you today, because I want you to be able to name the experience and know that if you have experienced this, number one, you're not being dramatic, you're not overreacting. These comments, these experiences, they leave emotional wounds. They put emotional weight on your body. And that's what I talk about. When I talk about losing the emotional weight, we're talking about losing this reel that runs in our head, right? This judgment that runs in our head based on experiences that we've had or based on things that people have said to us. And so, they do leave behind emotional weight. And if we don't deal with that, if we don't learn how to lose that, we just keep carrying that emotional weight into every new experience and like little, pocket of our life. So keep in mind as well, the problem isn't you. The problem isn't your body. It is the culture. It is the toxic culture around size, the culture around dieting and weight. Our, we have the right to have clothes that fit our bodies. Our bodies are not supposed to fit the clothes. The clothes are supposed to fit our bodies, right? And so I want to just share all this with you because if you've been feeling like this or you have felt like this in the past, just understand you were never the problem. The problem was the limited sizing, the toxic culture, the judgmental staff. Think about that. The judgmental sales staff. The judgmental sales staff who are also women who have grown up into this toxic diet culture and thinking that there's only one body type to be admired. There's only one beauty standard. And that's another one of the problems is we have fashion that was designed around one particular body type. And I think especially in the past, the 90s, early 2000s, when everything was just small and spaghetti straps and strapless and there wasn't a lot of options and things were not made for larger bodies, especially with formal wear. It's like you had to be the mother of the bride, right? And nobody at 16 or 17 wants to look like the mother of the bride. you know, just absolutely ridiculous. Like, there's also, I remember one of my friends, when we were back in the day when she had her birthday and she was having her debutante, and we were all invited. It's a formal event, and going to the debutante, I remember just wearing a dress that my mom had. It was a formal dress. It was just plain, like cream colored, and it fit me. It fit me perfectly. And I'm 16 years old. And I think the reason I went with that one is so that I didn't have to go back into one of these stores and go through that process again. I just was like, let me try this one on. Okay, it fits. It's plain. It's kind of boring, but okay, I'm going with it. And I recall back in the prom days, oh my God, I forgot the other dress. We had ring dance. We had ring dance too in 11th grade. And the same kind of thing, the same memories, same experience around buying that dress too, because especially back then and where I grew up, we had one main um, dress shop, and that was like there was like only a handful of them, so kind of everybody would go there for their prom dresses. I forgot about ring dance. I forgot about that one too. So just having all those experiences or having to look like the mother of the bride, it's just absolutely absurd. And we have these sales clerks who have been raised around the same toxic culture as well. And it doesn't have to be this way. And I would hope that things have changed for the better. It's been years. I think it's been probably since my wedding, which was 16 years ago, that I've gone to a formal, like, have to get fitted, do the whole thing type of situation. Let me bring up another one. Here's another one before I get into how we're going to transition. I was also in a wedding back in the day, and the bride said to me, because they were, dresses are usually strapless, not strapless, but sleeveless. I can get you, what is it called? Like a little cover. I could get you like a little cloak or a little, I forget the word that is called for those types of dresses. And I'm like, no, I don't want that, nor do I need that. I'm good, thank you. And just another person one time opening a Christmas gift with a dress at a friend's house, and she's like, "Oh, is that going to fit? Is that really going to fit you?" So just there are so many comments that have been made to me over the years about my body. And what I also want to say about that is all of these comments from high school to wedding and in between. I was never the same size. I was a variety of sizes. I was a variety of, you know, body compositions and all of these examples. So it's really funny to me that it doesn't matter what you look like, even if you are a traditional, straight size, people are going to people are going to make comments. People are going to say things. And so we've got to reframe this when we go into a dressing room or even when we order clothes. Because even when I go to order clothes, I still sometimes hear that voice and I have to, like, set it straight, right? So I think one of the things, we have to like hype ourselves up before we go into one of these experiences, right? And really like just get our mind. We have to be in the right mindset before we can even go into a store and do these things. But one of the things, that I want you to also understand is that just because a dress doesn't fit or just because a dress doesn't look good, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your body. It just means that's not the right dress for you. You just need to find the right fit. You just need to find the right dress. And so instead of thinking something's wrong with my body, try saying to yourself, the brand didn't design this for my body. This one isn't for me. The one that's for me is for me, and I'm going to find it. Right? Because even if you're a size 2, everything you try, I know we like to think like, oh, well, if you're small and you're skinny, and you don't have any fat rolls, like everything you try on is going to look good. And that's just not the case either. Right? So we're reclaiming the experience. We're going to rewrite the story. And I think finding places where you feel welcome, do your research, like look for stores where you feel that everybody, like every single body is welcomed into that store. I don't know if it still exists, but this was way after I got married, but I realized down the street there was a plus size wedding shop. Amazing. The most beautiful dresses. And I'm like, wow, that's just so cool. Like to have a store that only sells like plus size for wedding. Bring supportive people with you if that's something that you want to do. I prefer to shop alone. I'm not one of those girls who ever enjoyed like going with a group of friends shopping, and maybe that's from my body trauma too. I don't know. 579 anybody? Refuse to go to stores that don't carry your size. Refuse to go to stores where if you are going to have to order something or if you have to find your size, they have to order it. Refuse to go to stores that are going to shame you. Refuse to go to stores that are not inclusive. Don't go there. We have enough options now online that we don't have to go in person all the time. Now, I get it. Sometimes you're in a wedding, you're in an event, there's a certain gown, a certain dress you have to wear. But you don't owe loyalty to these stores that never made room for you in the first place. Fuck them stores. Like, seriously, fuck them stores. Like, you don't owe loyalty to them. They haven't been loyal to you. You don't owe loyalty to them. So, we have more options now. We have more autonomy to, like, do what we want to do and pick what we want to pick. And also, we don't have to look like the mother of the bride. We don't have to go upstairs to the women's section at Macy's. Okay, we're not doing that. And then also, think about what you would tell your younger self. This is an activity or a process that I like to do. If you go back and you think about yourself standing in that dressing room, what would you tell her? I would tell her there was nothing wrong with your body. There was never anything wrong with your body. And I think about now as a mom with a son and a daughter, I think about when I want to beat myself up or say things to myself. Would you say that to your daughter? Would you tell your daughter, what would you say to your daughter if she was standing in the mirror talking to herself that way? I would never allow her to treat herself that way. So why would we allow ourselves to treat ourselves that way? So you have to think of it that way. Think of either your younger self, if you have children, if you have young people in your life that mentor or take care of, think about them. And would you want them to talk to themselves like that or anyone else to talk to them in that way? And just know that if shopping makes you brace for impact, brace for judgment, you're not alone. A lot of us in this community, we learned that fear very early on and it stays with you. I don't care how much work you do around it, it still lingers sometimes. It doesn't sting like it used to. And I dare someone nowadays, like, come on, I really dare you to say some shit. Like, do it. Come on. Let's hear what you got to say. But that's because of growth. That's because of what I've done internally with myself and like working on the emotional weight. And just know that you're not alone and you didn't do anything wrong. And I wanted to share that with you today because a lot of us have fat girl dress shopping phobia, trauma. It's a trauma. It is a trauma, right? We talk on here all the time and there's big trauma, there's little trauma, and there's middle traumas. And this is one. It leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth. It leaves you not wanting to buy pretty things for yourself. Like you want to, but you're scared to go do it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go buy the dress. We're going to go get what we want to get. We're going to wear what we want to wear. And we don't care what anybody else has to say because that's their problem. That's a them problem, not a you problem. Okay? And this kind of came up for me and I thought of this topic because we are getting ready in a couple weeks to go to a quinceañera. And so I've, had to find a dress to wear. And of course I've been shopping online because I would just prefer to shop online. But, it brought up some of those old thoughts of like, can I wear this one? Can I pull this off? Could I really do this? Can I wear that? Is this going to suck this in? Is this going to push this up? Like, what would it be like? What would it be like to just pull a dress off the rack and go? I don't know. I don't know what that's like, because we have to shop for what fits us well and what we feel comfortable in. And if you're not comfortable in it, It's going to show, and you're going to be miserable, and you're not going to have a good time. And lastly, to wrap this up, another component is that you're not where you want to be. You have this event. You thought you'd be smaller by now. You thought you'd be in a smaller size, and the event is right around the corner, and you're not. It's okay. I know how disappointing that feels. I know what a gut punch that feels like. But what I don't want for you is to go to the event and miss out, and to sit on the side, and to not dance, and to not talk, and to not have a good time. You know, go anyway, show up, bring out your personality, bring yourself out. You're going to look good no matter what. Take the pictures, get in the pictures, because one day, this chapter that you're in, you're going to miss it. You're going to like have nostalgia for this chapter of your life, even if you're not in the body that you want to be in. And we're not getting this chapter back. So be in the moment, get your glam on, go do your thing, go rock it. You got this. And I'm going to leave it on that. I'm going to leave it on that note. If you like the podcast, I would love if you head on over to your podcast player and leave a rating and review. That helps so much. In the meantime, between episodes, make sure you're subscribed to my email list, which is down in the show notes. You can also stay connected through Instagram and TikTok. I am at Irresistible Icing. Until next time, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.